Ready? Let's get to it. Number 10, the asteroid belt. Our solar system has a ring of approximately 1.9 million rocks just floating between its fourth and fifth planets. No containment field, no traffic management AI, no warning beacons, just millions of jagged, tumbling boulders ranging from the size of a pebble to one that's 940 kilometers across, all drifting through a major transit corridor. Now, on any civilized system, a debris field like this would be cleaned, cataloged, and converted into building material within a few rotations. Humans don't even have a full inventory of what's in there. They've mapped roughly 1.3 million of them, maybe. And their maps are, and I cannot stress this enough, based on math they did from the ground. They're standing on one rock and guessing where the other rocks are. But here's the thing, the asteroid belt isn't even the dangerous part. The dangerous part is what the belt tells you about the system. See, most solar systems either form a planet in that orbital zone or they clean out the debris naturally over time. This system tried to form a planet there, but the fifth planet, Jupiter, is so absurdly massive that its gravity stirred the whole region into chaos. It's been 4.6 billion rotations and the system still hasn't sorted itself out. That's like walking into someone's house and seeing a pile of laundry on the floor and asking how long it's been there. And they say, since the house was built. That's not a mess. That's a design philosophy, and you should leave. Number 9, Jupiter. I keep dancing around the fifth planet, so let's just address it directly. Jupiter is a problem, not in the way a large planet is normally a problem. Jupiter is a problem in the way that a predator is a problem. Jupiter has a mass 2.5 times greater than every other planet in the solar system combined. It is so massive that it doesn't actually orbit the sun. Jupiter and the sun orbit a shared center of gravity that sits outside the sun's surface. Let me put that into perspective. This planet is so heavy that it moves their star. Its gravitational influence dominates the entire outer solar system. It redirects comets. It captures asteroids. It has pulled at least 95 moons into orbit around it, some of which are large enough to be considered planets in their own right. Jupiter is essentially running a second, your smaller solar system inside the first one. But here's what makes Jupiter particularly unsettling from a navigation standpoint. Its magnetic field is 20,000 times stronger than Earth's. If you flew a standard shielded vessel within 600,000 kilometers of the planet, the radiation belt surrounding it would fry every unshielded circuit on your ship. The radiation around Jupiter is strong enough to kill most carbon-based life forms within hours, and the planet has a storm on its surface, a single storm that has been raging for at least 350 Earth rotations. It is wider than the entirety of Earth. This storm is older than most human nations, and it still hasn't run out of energy. Oh, and if you're thinking, well, maybe I'll just send a probe into its atmosphere to gather some intelligence. The humans already tried that. They dropped a probe into Jupiter's atmosphere in 1995, the Galileo probe. It survived for 57 minutes before being crushed by pressure and incinerated. 57 minutes. In the atmosphere of a planet that the humans already knew would destroy it, and they considered the mission a success. The first thing any competent pilot learns in hazardous system navigation is this. If a star system has a gas giant that distorts the behavior of every other body around it, that is a system in active chaos. You don't dock there. You don't refuel there. You fly around. Number 8, the sun's tantrums. Every star is dangerous. That's obvious. But the star at the center of this system, which the humans have helpfully just named the sun, as if there's only one, has a temper that would get it flagged in any stellar behavior database. In 1859, the sun released what humans now call the Carrington event, a coronal mass ejection so powerful that if it happened today, it would knock out virtually every electronic system on the planet. We're talking global blackout, satellites fried, communication systems gone, the humans' entire technological infrastructure wiped in approximately 8 minutes, which is how long it takes the blast to travel from the sun to Earth. What makes this particularly concerning is the frequency. The sun operates on an 11 rotation cycle where its magnetic field activity increases and decreases. During solar maximum, it regularly produces flares classified as X-class. which is the highest category on their own scale. In 2024 alone, the sun produced over a dozen X-class flares. And the really fun part, the sun occasionally fires off what scientists call a super flare, which is a burst of energy orders of magnitude larger than anything recorded in modern human history. They happen, just not frequently enough for the humans to take them seriously, which is sort of the theme of this entire solar system. And here's the horror movie twist. The humans are aware of all of this. They know their star could, at essentially any moment, send a wave of charged plasma that would knock their entire civilization back to pre-electronic capabilities. And their plan for dealing with it is, and I'm quoting their own scientists here, not robust. They just live next to it at 8 light minutes from a volatile, temperamental, occasionally explosive ball of nuclear fusion with no meaningful contingency plan. And they sunbathe in its radiation for fun. Number 7, Venus. If you're trying to invade the solar system and you're looking at a star chart, your eye is naturally going to be drawn to the second planet. It's roughly the same size as Earth. It's within what most species would consider a habitable orbital range. From a distance, it almost looks like a reasonable place to establish a forward operating base. Do not land on Venus. Venus has a surface temperature of 465 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead. It's hotter than the first planet Mercury, despite being nearly twice as far from the sun. The atmosphere is 96.5% carbon dioxide with clouds made of sulfuric acid. The atmospheric pressure on the surface is equivalent to being 900 meters underwater on Earth. If the heat doesn't kill you, the acid will. If the acid doesn't kill you, the pressure will flatten you into a disk. But the worst part? Venus rotates backwards. Every other planet in the system rotates in the same direction. Venus said no, and it rotates so slowly that a single day on Venus is longer than a Venusian year. It takes longer to spin once on its axis than it does to go all the way around the sun. That's not a planet. That's a warning. The humans sent probes to Venus. The Soviet Union, which was a now dissolved human political entity, managed to land several spacecraft on the surface. The longest any of them survived was 127 minutes. That's how long their hardened, purpose-built, radiation-shielded space probe lasted. 127 minutes. Venus ate it. And this is Earth's nearest neighbor. This is the planet right next door. This is what this solar system considers the neighborhood. On most star charts, Venus is listed as Earth's sister planet because of their similar size. Sisters. One of them is a thriving biosphere, and the other is a sulfuric acid hellscape with surface temperatures that would make a smelting furnace jealous. If this is how the system treats siblings, imagine what it does to visitors. Number 6, Io. You remember how I mentioned Jupiter has 95 moons? Most of them are unremarkable. Cold rocks, captured asteroids, the usual. But the innermost of Jupiter's large moons is a place called Io, and it might be the single most geologically violent body in any charted solar system. Io has over 400 active volcanoes, not dormant, active, erupting. Right now, as I'm recording this, hundreds of volcanoes on this tiny moon are vomiting sulfur and silicate lava across its surface at temperatures exceeding 1,600 degrees Celsius. Some of these eruptions are so violent they launch material over 500 kilometers above the surface. Picture this. You're approaching Jupiter and you need to swing past its moons. You look out your viewport and you see a world that is literally turning itself inside out. It looks like it's been dipped in a vat of yellow and orange paint by someone having a nervous breakdown. Lakes of liquid sulfur, plains of frozen sulfur dioxide, mountains being pushed up and then consumed by lava on geologically instantaneous timescales. What makes this truly unsettling is the cause. Jupiter's gravity, combined with the gravitational pull of the moons Europa and Ganymede, creates a tidal flexing effect inside Io that generates so much internal heat that the moon's interior is in a constant state of melting and eruption. Io is being squeezed to death by gravity, and it's been screaming about it for billions of rotations. If the universe was trying to put up a do not enter sign at the doorstep of Jupiter, Io is that sign. Number 5, the Oort cloud. Everything I've described so far is inside the solar system. The planets, the moons, the asteroid belt, All of that is what you'd encounter after you've already entered the system and begun your approach. The Oort cloud is what's waiting for you at the door. The Oort cloud is a theoretical shell of icy objects that surrounds the entire solar system at a distance of up to 100,000 astronomical units from the sun. To put that in perspective, one astronomical unit is the distance from the sun to Earth. The Oort cloud extends 100,000 times that distance in every direction. If the solar system's planetary region is a house, the Oort cloud is a minefield that stretches from the house to the next town. Scientists estimate it contains trillions of icy bodies, and periodically, gravitational disturbances knock these bodies out of the cloud and send them hurtling toward the inner solar system at tremendous speeds. These are what humans call long period comets. Some of them take millions of years to complete a single orbit. You could fly through what you think is empty space and get hit by an object traveling at 70 kilometers per second that has been falling toward the sun since before the humans even existed. The real nightmare fuel is this: humans have never directly observed the Oort cloud. They can't. It's too far away and too dark. They only know it exists because of the comets that occasionally fall out of it. So even the species that lives in the system can't tell you exactly what's out there surrounding them. They are living inside a sphere of invisible high-velocity projectiles, and their best scientific position on it is probably trillions of them. This is the perimeter security of a system we're supposed to invade. Number 4, Europa. Back to Jupiter's moons for a moment, because this one keeps me up at night. Well, I don't technically sleep, but it would keep me up if I did. Europa is a moon roughly the size of Earth's moon, covered in a shell of ice that is somewhere between 15 and 25 kilometers thick. Beneath that ice, there is an ocean, a liquid water ocean, estimated to contain twice as much water as all of Earth's oceans combined. Now, liquid water beneath ice isn't unusual in the universe. What is unusual is the evidence suggesting that this ocean has a rocky seafloor, hydrothermal vents, and the chemical building blocks necessary for life. Scientists, both human and otherwise, believe that Europa may harbor living organisms beneath its surface. But here's the thing that the Council doesn't publicize. If there is life in Europa's ocean, or it evolved completely independently from Earth life, in total darkness, under kilometers of ice, in an environment shaped by Jupiter's radiation and tidal forces, whatever is swimming in that ocean did not evolve to be friendly. It evolved to survive in one of the most extreme environments in the system. And we don't know what it is. We don't know how big it is. We don't know if it's intelligent. We know almost nothing except that the conditions for life are there, and something might be using them. The humans are planning to send a probe. They launched it in 2024. It's called Europa Clipper, and it will arrive around 2030. They are going to deliberately investigate the one moon in this system that might contain an unknown alien biosphere. Because of course they are. These are the same beings who chase tornadoes and cut themselves open for fun. Why wouldn't they go knock on the door of whatever's living under the ice of Jupiter's most unsettling moon? Number 3, Earth's moon. I know what you're thinking. You looked at Earth's moon and figured it was the one safe, boring object in this entire system. A dead, gray, cratered rock with no atmosphere and no geological activity. The safest place to stage an invasion. Let me explain why that's wrong. First, the moon is suspiciously large. For a planet Earth's size, having a moon that is 27% of its diameter is abnormal. Most planets have moons that are tiny fractions of their size. Earth's moon is so large relative to its planet that some scientists classify the Earth-Moon system as a double planet rather than a planet and a satellite. The leading theory for how the moon formed is that a Mars-sized body slammed into the early Earth with enough force to eject a significant portion of the planet's mantle into orbit, where it coalesced into the moon. This system's history includes planetary collisions of that magnitude. That's the origin story. Second, and this is the part that I find genuinely chilling, the moon is tidally locked. It always shows the same face to Earth. Always. Humans have never seen the far side of their own moon with their naked eyes. They didn't photograph it until 1959. That means for 299,940 years of human sentience, they lived beneath an object that never showed them its other side, and they were fine with that. The worst part? The moon is slowly moving away from Earth at a rate of 3.8 centimeters per year. It's been doing this for billions of years, and the humans are aware of it. They know their moon is leaving. Their tides are gradually weakening. Their axial stability will eventually be affected, and their response has been to plant a flag on it and then not go back for 50 years. Whatever you think you know about this system, remember, even the moon is weird here. Nothing in this solar system is normal. Not the planets, not the moons, not the star, and certainly not the one species arrogant enough to think it runs the place. Speaking of which, number two, the magnetosphere. Here's the thing about Earth specifically that makes any approach to the planet far more dangerous than it appears. On Earth has a magnetic field generated by its liquid iron core. This field extends tens of thousands of kilometers into space, forming a protective bubble called the magnetosphere. The magnetosphere deflects the solar wind, traps charged particles, and shields the planet from the kind of radiation that would otherwise strip the atmosphere and sterilize the surface. Without it, Earth would look like Mars. This is not unusual. Many planets have magnetic fields. What is unusual is what's trapped inside it. The Van Allen radiation belts are two zones of highly energized particles caught in Earth's magnetosphere. The inner belt sits approximately 1,000 to 12,000 kilometers above the surface. The outer belt extends from 13,000 to 60,000 kilometers. Any unshielded vessel passing through these belts will be bombarded with radiation levels that would be lethal to most known biological organisms. What makes this particularly horrifying from an invasion standpoint is that the belts essentially function as a minefield you have to fly through to reach the surface. You can't go around them because they wrap all the way around the planet. You have to go through them, which means you have to shield your ships against radiation that the humans themselves didn't even discover until 1958. And here's the horror movie twist. When the humans figured out the belts existed, some of them wanted to nuke them. In 1962, the United States detonated a nuclear weapon 400 kilometers above the Pacific Ocean in a test called Starfish Prime. The explosion created an artificial radiation belt that persisted for years, damaged multiple satellites, and knocked out streetlights in Hawaii, 1,400 kilometers away. They tried to nuke their own planet's natural shield. For science. If that doesn't convince you that this system and everything in it should be left alone, nothing will. Number one, the Voyager messages. In 1977, humans launched two spacecraft, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. These probes were designed to study the outer planets of the solar system and then continue traveling into interstellar space. As of right now, Voyager 1 is the most distant human-made object in existence, roughly 24 billion kilometers from Earth. It has left the solar system entirely and entered interstellar space. And here's the part that should make every species in the Intergalactic Council pause. They put messages on them. Both Voyager probes carry what humans call the Golden Record, a gold-plated copper disc containing sounds, images, and information about Earth and humanity. There are greetings in 55 human languages. There are recordings of music, from something called Bach to something called Chuck Berry. There are diagrams showing the position of Earth relative to 14 pulsars, essentially a map to their front door. There are images of human anatomy, their DNA structure, and the chemical composition of their atmosphere. They voluntarily put everything an invading species would need to find, assess, and exploit them onto a disk and launched it into the void. They didn't just fail to hide, they sent out an invitation. Now, you picture yourself as an advanced species. You intercept this golden disk tumbling through the darkness of interstellar space. You decode it, and you learn about a planet of 8 billion soft, slow, short-lived beings who looked up at a universe full of unknowns. And their first instinct wasn't to hide. It wasn't to build a weapon. It wasn't to run. Their first instinct was to say, hello. That's either the most beautiful or the most terrifying thing you've ever encountered. And honestly, I've gone back and forth on which one it is for about 80 years now, because here's what the Council will never say publicly. The reason Earth's solar system is quarantined in every universe I've checked through the multiversal browser isn't because of the acid planets or the radiation belts or the gas giant running its own gravitational empire. It's not because of the volcanoes on Io or the invisible minefield of the Oort cloud. It's not even because of whatever might be swimming under Europa's ice. It's because at the center of all that chaos, orbiting a temperamental star, shielded by a magnetosphere they once tried to nuke, living on a pale blue dot that is cosmically insignificant by every measurable standard. There is a species that knows it's fragile, knows it's small, knows the universe could snuff it out tomorrow, and still had the audacity to reach out and introduce itself. They didn't whisper it, they put it on a gold record, strapped it to a rocket, and threw it into the void at 61,000 kilometers per hour. That level of irrational courage is something no species in the UG has a defense against, because you can't predict it, you can't model it, and you absolutely cannot contain it. Every simulation we've run, every war game, every invasion scenario eventually ends the same way. They find out we exist. They're not scared. They want to talk. And then everything falls apart. Leave the solar system alone. Trust me. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified whenever I drop a new video, homie. Also, don't forget to smash that like button. Peace.